life is full of adventures.
Do you take this man to be your husband?
I do. Welcome home.
We did it. He has your eyes.
He's perfect.
Make the most of them all with PenFed checking and savings accounts. Learn more at PenFed.org. Federally insured by NCUA. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed Credit Union.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
All right, HBCU Legends fans, it's Coyote Mosley here with Coach Daryl Steward. What's going on, Cole?
Oh, man, another weekend of great college football, high school football, and NFL football.
Yeah, a lot of great football to be talking about today, as well as we got some other interesting tidbits that are coming out of the National Football League, and it's not so good for Deshaun Watson. And I want to talk about that right quick, Coach. We know Watson did not have the greatest game on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys whooped up on them for 6 sacks, right?
Right.
And he just did not look smooth at all. His offensive line didn't give him time. He was all over the place. And now Tony Busby right here in Houston, the attorney who represented the 24 young ladies that came out before against Deshaun Watson with the massage scandal, right? Now another young lady has come forth and said that he allegedly assaulted her. Right now in the middle of the season, that's not good, and they had a press conference. No, they had a meeting with the National Football League today. That doesn't look good and bode well for Deshaun Watson just starting the season. What's your thoughts?
Well, I look at it like this. The NFL is a great league. Roger Goodell is going to do his job. But I really don't know what type of move this is. I do know Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback. I do know we live in a poverty area as far as African Americans. The wealth gap is not fair. And these NFL players take care of a lot of people. I'm around them all the time, and I just was telling the NFL scout the other day, it's amazing when you see an NFL player, the the amount of people that they're taking care of is ridiculous. Where are the city officials, the mayors, the governor, are they really looking into this? Because they're controlling their neighborhoods, and when it's not their job to take care. We understand that they have families, but when you look at what's going on in the NFL now, this new age era, it's not like the old days, Kyle. These young men are taking care of a lot of poverty situations, going back to their neighborhoods. I think realistically, it's not fair. I think you have to have a developmental mind as far as business to upgrade these cities. You just can't have Houston, a big metropolitan city. Then you got Atlanta, a big metropolitan city. What about all the rest of the cities? You got to develop these areas because, like I say, it's a lot of pressure on these guys as far as performing at a high level. Plus, they got their families, their cousins, the neighborhoods. It's out of control. I'm not going to go against an NFL player because it's a fraternity, and I'm in the league. I represent some of the NFL that what they do in the league. So I'm not. Only thing I can say is Roger Goodell and the NFL did their job on the last investigation. Now another lady is coming. I just don't see how this can be true because the first time they did their job. And so, You mean to tell me that they missed the lady? I don't
Well,
think so.
well, all right, because I don't want any liability issues
Right, right.
for us here. But the bottom line, she's brought forth allegations.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the best way we can say it.
Right.
When you bring forth allegations, you have to be able to investigate, and I think that's what the National Football League has started to do is bring forth their investigators, their teams to be able to speak with the young lady, her representative, Tony Busby, and kind of shed some light on what's going on, right? So right now, when it comes to the football aspect, it's a distraction that the Cleveland Browns at this particular time don't need to have. That's where I'm coming from. Now, let's talk about football and having.
I was just answering your question. I never got into the legal part of it, but I will say this: the poverty situation in some of these areas where NFL teams are ridiculous, and you got to take care of that because, I mean, it's just what you said. It is an allegation. But to stay with the football part, I think it's a Baker Mayfield situation. I think you see Baker Mayfield playing at a high level, playing at an MVP All-Star situation. He's on a new team now. And I think that's what it has to be with Deshaun Watson. I just don't think Cleveland is the right fit for him.
That part, and I have to agree with you there, man. I really do.
I just don't think Cleveland's the right part.
I'm going to say this, Coach. I watched the game, right? And I was kind of shocked that, who's the coach? Kevin Stefanski, right?
Right.
I was like, what type of plays is he calling? I was just kind of trying to figure this out, man. And he's the guy that, let me make sure this is right. He's the guy who, when you look at, Kevin Stefanski, that was brought in to be one of these guys from that Shanahan tree, right? And supposed to be the offensive genius and all this other stuff. And I just don't know if he and Deshaun are on the same page. And you look at their situation during the preseason where they were trying to have 4 different quarterbacks on their roster, and that was kind of weird in itself, and then wind up trading one, right? I mean, waiving one. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. I have to agree with you. I don't think they're a good fit right now, and we'll monitor the situation with Deshaun Watson going forward. Coach, another outside aspect of HBCU that we touched on last week was Coach Moore over at Michigan did not have a contract, and they finally got it ratified. How do you think that really took place?
I think he's in a situation where he's still going to have to prove himself. He's not Jim Harbaugh. He has to go in now with a totally different team, different mindset, different philosophy, and rebuild his team. And that's going to take time. But overall, I thought it was good for the Michigan family to get his contract settled. Now, Michigan is a job like LSU and Alabama. You know, everybody's going to want that particular job. He has to win.
Yeah.
And, you know, if he doesn't, then, you know, it'll be back on the buyout clause, you know. So I just think right now, you know, pressure situation is not like a regular job. It's a big job. And so people are going to be gunning for it. But I'm glad he got his contract situation settled and so that they can move forward.
Yeah, 5-year contract, roughly $6 million per year. Get paid, get paid, get paid. That's all I say. Get paid, man. All right, so that looks pretty good for him. And, Coach, this weekend is a big weekend. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of these games that are coming up. You have also what the Southern Heritage Classic that's going to be, but you also have the Boombox Classic that's going to be taking place, and you're going to be right there in full effect to watch that firsthand between Jackson State and Southern. So I think this is early in the season. We're still in week 3, right? But we got some good football that is going to be going down in this week as well. So before we even go a little bit further, guys, don't forget to follow us on HBCU Legends at hbculegends.net. And you can also check us out at HBCU Legends on Sports Illustrated's site, as well as on all social media platforms. In our podcast, thank you so much for us. You know, Coach, I think we've been very blessed how we've been growing, man. And, and it only comes with a lot of great content, dialogue that we try to deliver to you guys on a weekly basis. If it was up to Coach, we'll go every day. We'll go every day, man. And that's some great stuff. And also, thank you for following the new show that we have developed called Black Sports Insiders. It's going to keep on growing and keep on expanding. We're going to have Coach. He's going to be a part of it. All right, now, Coach, you're going to hold me to that. Okay. And we're going to have other people a part of the growth cycle on HBCU Plus app. You can be able to follow us there, the Black Sports Insiders, and we have 2 great guests tonight with Tamika Reed, former Jackson State head women's basketball coach. She's now at UNC Charlotte with the 49ers, and CIAA Commissioner Jackie McWilliams Parker. She will be a part of our broadcast tonight as well. So, and hopefully, man, we may have Warren Moon a part of the broadcast. So that might be great to have him to come in and share his thoughts about the evolution of the black quarterback. And last night we had a good show with Stephen J. Gaither from HBCU Game Day. And, so we're just trying to deliver some great content with you guys there. So check us out at blacksportsinsiders.com. Okay, Coach, let's talk about what's happening in week 3. Last week, we had some mystery games, I would like to call them. But how did you feel about, let's just a quick recap of last week. How did you feel about week 2 in college football?
I thought week 2 was, you found out what type of team, a lot of head coaches found out what type of team they had. Mm-hmm. Found the heart of their team and if their team was balanced or if their team was not balanced. But, going into week 3, you're going to see a lot of championship teams. I like what, South Carolina State beating the Division I school. I thought that was big. That hadn't happened in a long time there.
Yeah, I think that was the second time they beat the Citadel in their history.
Yeah. So, it's all coming together with some teams. Now you're getting into, most of the teams will be getting into conference play this week. And you'll find out the heart of their team this week.
Yeah. Florida A&M and NCCU, are they still the top dogs in the HBCU football realm?
I think so right now. Being that, you see Jackson playing 2 quarterbacks, you see Southern playing 2 quarterbacks. Just so many teams playing 2 quarterbacks. I think when you look at what Prairie View did, they could be knocking on the door. They could have found their guy now. I thought they had the biggest win going on the road, beating the Northwestern team at home. I thought that was big for their program and Coach Bubba McDowell. So, right now, though, you got to give the edge to Trey the True Follower and Coach Coles and what they're doing at FAM, man. Till somebody knocks them off, they're the 2 top dogs right now.
Yeah. And when you looked at the game between Prairie View as well as who was that? Northwestern State, right? In Louisiana. The defense for Prairie View very much stepped up. Cam Peterson, he had a couple of picks. He was off schedule on a few of his plays, but he, all in all, Bubba McDowell was pleased with it coming out of the gate. Now, Coach McDowell really wanted Cam Peterson at the beginning of the season to be the guy. You know, he was there through the offseason. He was there last season, but he wasn't as vocal as he wanted him to be. But with the injury to Coley in the season opener against Texas Southern, right, he now has him to be a part of that starting lineup. And he's a big kid. You know, I think he's like 6'4", something to that nature. And he poses a threat down the field. He can also run the ball pretty well. So, but then you look at Alabama State. They're now without Body, right? They didn't have O'Brien because he was injured as well. But they had the young freshman to come off the bench and had a pretty decent game. But the running game was what really saved those guys. Coach?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering any comments on Alabama State?
Yeah, I just was going to say on Alabama State, I thought Coach Robinson redeemed himself, even though he beat Miles College, but he beat him with a freshman quarterback, and it was a must-win game for him. He's in a tough predicament as a head coach playing with a true freshman down to his number 3 guy for the season. So, you know, hopefully he'll get one of his quarterbacks back. But right now, I'm told he's dealing with just 2 quarterbacks, and he has roughly 9, 10 ball games left. You don't know what can happen. So, you know, he had to run the ball a lot, which I'm told that they did. They went totally to running the ball. They probably passed it, you know, no more than 4 or 5 times, but they ended the game victorious, and you gotta do what you gotta do to win the ball game, Kai.
Bottom line, right? As what you saw firsthand with Southern, TSAT is now the starting quarterback this upcoming game. He took over mid-game for Noah Bodden. Coach Graves did say that Bodden will be needed at some point during this season, so he's not totally dismissing his participation with the Jaguars offense. Why did that happen, in your opinion, at that game? What was going on that really caused Graves to be able to make the switch?
Well, I saw it on close, Kyle, and what happens is when you're playing 2 quarterbacks, you're trying to see which quarterback is going to have that rhythm. And Southern did that, and T-Set just came in, and he started clicking before volume. So, you know, I don't think Noah is a bad quarterback. I just think, you know, when the plays work for one, it might not work for the other. And then T-Set just came in and moved the ball. And so a lot of that comes from, you know, if you know Noah Biden's background, he's a New York kid. He's coming down south where it's past happy and a little bit better high school football. T-Set comes out of a high, well-known high school in Louisiana for Scotlandville, 5A school. They pass the ball a lot, and so he was accustomed to the system, I think.
Right.
And as a true freshman coming in to do what he did, I thought it was extreme, an extreme situation, Kai.
Yeah.
For him and the program.
Yeah. And look, I think Coach Frederick spoke about it before the season started that T-Set was looking good to him, you know. So I don't want to say Bodden was on a short leash, but right now the Southern Jaguars could not lose that game. They could not lose it, man, and to Savannah State. So that was a good win for that program. And look, your alma mater, they got some issues with their quarterback. Talk about it.
Yeah, man. Jackson State right now, not happy with Jacoby and Morgan, but he showed some of these signs last year. He came in, he was not a on target quarterback, but then they worked with him, Kyle, and he started, distributing the ball well and taking command of the offense and doing a great job. I think right now what's happening is some of these guys are not used to how the offensive coordinators are running in quarter. Morgan take one series, then Cameron take the next series. Some quarterbacks are not used to that, Kyle, and it makes them nervous. And so they go in, they might make a mistake. Well, the backup comes in and he doesn't make a mistake, then he has the job. So, this is a new situation for these guys, and may the best man win. But, I'm not a coach where I feel like you should be looking for your quarterback during the season, because this is what you get now, Kyle. Everybody talking about who's Jackson quarterback going to be, who's Southern quarterback going to be, who's Prairie View. This is what you get. And so, I just think right now a lot of coaches are experimenting. It's going to be a defensive ball game, because I don't think, when you look at what T. Gray said on his interview, they're not throwing no Biden away, and I don't think they are. I just think right now, when T. Set came into the ball game, he threw the ball much better than Noah, and he's naming him the starter, but he didn't play the full game. So T. Set goes into Jackson. This is his first big game, and he doesn't get any points on the board in the first quarter, then you might see Biden back in. So, I just really feel like right now, a lot of head coaches, Kyle, didn't do what they supposed to do in the spring of finding a quarterback, and now they're trying to do it in the fall, and this is why you have so many quarterback controversies. And Bethune Cookman the same way. So, let's hope they get it right and settle in on one starting quarterback.
Yeah, well, I saw it firsthand with Texas Southern. So, I mean, think about it. KJ Cooper goes down the first game at the end of the game, right in the fourth quarter. The big win against Prairie View, right? This game against Rice, it was going to be a challenge for Texas Southern anyway. They went down and they lost, 69-7 against those guys. It could have been easily 69-0, I think. Rice allowed them to be able to score that last touchdown, right? But Jace Wilson, the 2023 newcomer of the year for Texas Southern, had a tough outing. He only had 6 passing yards, completed 2 passes. He was under duress the entire game. I mean, the Rice just it was a track meet. Who can get to him first? That's how it looked, man. So, and no running game was able to be established at all to take the pressure off him. And when he threw the pick 6 toward the end of the second quarter, I think Coach Dishman saw enough, and then he had to enter Jordan Davis to the game. And Davis, he didn't have much more success than Wilson. They did look a little bit more smoother at times, but also Rice had their third and fourth stringers in, So It wasn't like Davis was going against the first string guys that Jace Wilson faced. So, I mean, this is not just HBCU football that this is happening. It's been happening across FBS as well. A lot of these teams do not have stability at the quarterback level. And, Coach, what do we always say? If you ain't got a quarterback, you ain't got what?
You ain't got nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, and I'm just right now, it makes me concerned that some of the programs that were ranked very high are having some issues. I heard even at Howard there was some issues until that running back was the one who really helped them out. And
Well, I was talking to one of the coaches, Kyle, and what's happening, why you see such a quarterback problem. And this is what they're saying. A lot of the top quarterbacks that HBCUs got in the past, they're not getting them because of the NIL. And so you getting that maybe that small tier quarterback, and it's going to take a little bit of time now because your bigger quarterbacks that you used to get in the past, they're just not going to come for free. And so NIL is into play now, and this is what you get. When you look at all our quarterbacks, Kyle, they're not NIL guys. They're, I don't want to say they're hand-me-downs, but there are guys that have been in other programs that are looking for a happy home.
right.
So, it's probably going to take a little bit more time, maybe mid-season or homecoming, but this is what you get now.
Okay. This is what you get, and I hope the fans are going to be pleased after this weekend. But I think this is also where you're going to start seeing some separation starting to take place, especially in the SWAC right now. If you got that Jackson State Southern game, of course, Jackson State is east, Southern's west, so it's not much of a issue. But Southern, I believe, is under a lot of pressure to be able to win that game, man.
The fans are just like I told you what people were saying at the game. Southern shouldn't have been into kind of like Alabama State. They were wondering what did the coaches do in the spring, why they're trying to find a quarterback now. And let's face it, Kyle, our fans, they know football. They know, they're used to saying, hey, he's the starter, he's the guy. And when you're experimenting during the game, you're going to hear a lot of boos and a lot of what's going on. And I think right now, some of our coaches messed up in the spring and probably didn't do what they're supposed to do in the spring, and it's catching up with them. And so let's hope they can get out of this little entanglement that they're in right now, Kyle, and win some ball games. Because I wanted to tell you what I didn't know, Kyle. I want you to speak on this. I didn't know Alcorn hadn't scored a touchdown and Bethune Cookman hadn't scored a touchdown. And I will tell you, because I know about the Florida area, Bethune Cookman is in an area, Daytona Beach, right down from the Orlando area. Great high school football, great high school quarterbacks. But, man, I'm told that they've been playing 2 to 3 quarterbacks. They hadn't scored yet, and that's a concern.
Ooh-wee. That's all I can say, man. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, that's what I did. I didn't know that.
Coach, you haven't scored a touchdown yet this season?
This season.
And Alcorn was rated what at the beginning of the season?
They were rated preseason champs.
Top in the East. West. Yeah, West. Top in the West for a SWAC, and you haven't scored a touchdown. Wow. Yeah, that's shocking with Bethune because
very is shocking. It's shocking.
Because that little quarterback, I thought he was going to have a chance, man. Oh, man. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break. It's halftime for us. And, Coach.
PenFed Free Checking offers 0 fees and 0 balance requirements for 0 hassle. PenFed Access America Checking lets you earn money on your balance for dreams big and small. Choose the best account for you and start making the most of your money. Learn more at penfed.org. Federally insured by NCUA. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed Credit Union.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
Get 15% off a set of BrakeMess Select, Select Pro, or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Oh, O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Well, anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back to talk more about the upcoming games and the MEAC as well as SWAC, and as well as they got some preview games for the SIAC. My alma mater going to be in prime time on Saturday. The Maroon Tigers. Man, it's going to be a slaughter. But anyway, we'll be back, man. All right, Cole. We are back at it in full effect. Man, before we even get into it, guys, September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. I'm a prostate cancer survivor myself. So guys, go get tested. Don't be afraid of the test. It's going to save your life. That's what you need. Get your PSAs done and get them to be able to examine you and make sure you are right. I had even my doctor who did my oncologist did my treatment. He was diagnosed for a second time himself, and it's nothing to play with. Prostate cancer is very treatable at this time, but when it gets to that stage 3, stage 4, you talk about dangerous areas that could spread to other parts of your body. So guys, first 10, I'm telling you, get yourself checked, catch it early before it goes awry in your body. Get healthy and let's do our do. Coach, any thoughts in about prostate cancer, man?
Man, Kyle, just like you said, we got to go get checked. We got to stay in the gym. You know, I do my aerobics now, Kyle, in the morning and evening because, you know, it's health is wealth. And I didn't know it until, you know, you start seeing the dollar signs. And when you go into the gym now, Kyle, you're working out with a bunch of CEOs. And, you know, you're working out with a bunch of vegetarians. You're working out with people that, you know, don't eat meat and eat nothing but fish. And so, you know, when you start making the dollars, you got to take care of your body. You got to see, like you said, you got to see the doctor monthly. And because we want you guys to listen to the show and be healthy and be with us to the very end. So
that's a good point.
Right. And I believe in just you got to get checked.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Health is wealth. I remember when I was going through my treatments, Doc, and when my son says, "Dad, I need you to be around," man, that hits you hard.
Right.
You know, and like you said, you got a lot of CEOs, a lot of people get up early in the morning, they work out, and the older you get, you gotta get at it more. You know, it's not like you can just say I'm gonna have a diet and I'll be okay. No, it doesn't work that way. So Coach brings up a great point that I need to take heed to as well. But guys, if you have more questions about prostate cancer, go online, Google prostate cancer awareness, and you're gonna see a whole slew of great content to be able to help you out in that area. All right, Coach. The MEAC. Let's start with the MEAC right now. Howard versus Morehouse College. That's going to take place at the HBCU NYC Classic in New York at MetLife Stadium. Man, oh man, I was there for the first one. You're going to have Spike Lee in attendance. You're going to have a whole bunch of people. Sean Paul is doing one of the shows, and I think might be a chance to see Slick Rick as well as Dougie Fresh. So, guys, if you just want to go and have a great time, there's a lot of great things going on, career fairs going on. We had the founder, Albert Williams, with us this week on Black Sports Insiders. So that's going to be a dub for Howard.
Let's hope. Let's hope because they have quarterback troubles as well.
Well, and Coach Terrence Mathis is just getting everything up. I think the offense, they did a better job this past weekend. They're just needing to see how things go. The defense is starting to get better as well. So it could be a close contest. I recall the first season, it was 0-0 at halftime, and Morehouse defense was flying all around, man, but they just could not keep up that second half of the game. Let's see. Morgan State takes on Ohio University. Hampton goes to Norfolk, and UNC at Chapel Hill is going to host NCCU, and South Carolina State will play Georgia Southern, and Wagner is going to play Delaware State. Out of those games, which ones are you going to focus on?
I think right now Coach Odoms is back. I think he's on the road. Big win against Virginia State. He has his team clicking. I think right now he's showing you what that year 4 is all about. And with the win this weekend against Hampton, I think he's going to have a scary team to be reckoned with against Central.
Okay, you're taking Norfolk over Hampton. All right, interesting. What about the NCCU going to UNC game? You know, a few years ago, Florida A&M played those guys. How do you feel about NCCU taking on this game right now?
A lot of coaches are talking about Trey Oliver being the next Deion Sanders as far as getting the opportunity at the next level. His name is being mentioned out there with a lot of Division I programs. We don't know what this move is about. It's good for Durham, because they're both in those. I think they're like 10 miles, 20 miles apart. It'd be good for the area, Kyle. He's going against a legend in Mac Brown. I think he's going to do well. I don't think he's going to win the ball game, but I think this is a game that they're trying to see how well he can coach against the big ones.
Yeah, I agree. But Chinnisberry taking on Georgia Southern, man, can that defense for the Bulldogs stand up to a high-powered offense that Georgia Southern usually has?
I think this is going to be the second big win for Chinnisberry.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm going to say this. Georgia Southern is a powerful running team. They can pass the ball well. And so I just don't think being one-dimensional is going to beat that big defensive line that South Carolina State has. They have some outstanding players on defense, man, with great size, and they tackle well. And so I just think right now Chinnisberry is showing the HBCU world why South Carolina State hired him, and I just don't think the wing T offense can beat him. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think he's going to get over like a 28-21 type win for South Carolina State.
All right, interesting. Now, the one liability that I saw, and hopefully coach is able to clean this up, was their defensive backs. And when they were kind of vulnerable against Citadel, when Citadel needed to make big plays, they made 2 big plays down the field. They have a big wide receiver. That kid, if the quarterback was able to put it in a right placement that third time, they would have taken that lead, man. So I have to agree with you. South Carolina State has an opportunity to come out with a big win. If they win that game, we're going to see it. We're going to see it. I can't, man, might have to drive all the way to North Carolina Central to see that game going on between those two. But anyway, man, those would be some pretty good games. Let's turn our attention to the SWAC. In week 3, Prairie View goes to East Lansing to meet Michigan State Spartans. Can the Panthers pull off the upset there, Coach?
Big game, big money game for both McDowell and his program. Michigan State, this is going to be a tough game. It's not going to be a pushover. People thought that Prairie View coming to Northwestern last week was going to be a blowout. But it's going. I think what we're seeing now, Kyle, is the bigger programs don't scare HBCUs. I just right now that the games are are I ain't gonna say just matched up real well, but what you do see is some good physicality game that both teams are trying to win, and I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I just think right now you're getting the Michigan State team at the right time.
All right. Well, that should be interesting to see. I got to keep my eye on that one, you know.
Hey, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame last week, so anything can happen.
But you know what, Coach? We're going to depart off of the SWAC schedule just to kind of talk about that, man. In my opinion, that wasn't a big shot.
It was no, it was shocking to everybody. It was on the ticker. It was shocking.
Okay, but it wasn't a big shock to me.
Yeah.
You know why? Notre Dame had an emotional win against Texas A&M, right? It came down to the fourth quarter to win that game down in College Station. But Northern Illinois has been playing teams pretty tough over the past couple of years. That's a good coach. They have a good coach over there. And I just wasn't that shocked when people said, oh, the upset happened. What I was shocked at was the fans for the Fighting Irish. They were very upset. You know, of course, every time you don that Irish gold, you think you're going to win the game, right? But I was shocked at how they were just demeaning their own team at home, man. It was just, to me, I'm thinking, you guys are not 0-2. You just 1-1. Yeah, you lost a win. Yeah, you lost a supposedly winnable game, but you guys are not a top tier. I mean, you're not an elite program like you think you are.
Well, Kai, I can tell you what, ESPN and Football Insiders were saying, which I looked at it as the same way. Anytime you can go into College Station and beat an SEC opponent, any SEC opponent, what they did, because you got to understand, they didn't have Notre Dame to beat Texas A&M. So they go on the road in a hostile environment and win the ball game. Now you come back home and you lose to Northern Illinois. Now I have to agree with you. Northern Illinois has a great up-and-coming young head coach. But when you watch the game, Kyle, which I had a chance to watch, he outcoached Notre Dame. He didn't have better players than Notre Dame, but he definitely outcoached Notre Dame to the end because they missed the field goal. And, it's just one of those situations, man, where I just think right now these smaller programs feel like they're not scared anymore. They can play with the bigger schools.
So you said Morehouse have a chance. That's all I keep hearing.
They have a chance.
They have a chance, yeah. But, oh, man, it wasn't a shock to me. Coach Thomas Hammock, keep that name out there on the radar for you guys. He's going to get a bigger FBS job coming up. I bet you somebody hires this guy, man. Marcus Freeman, I felt bad for Coach Freeman. I thought,
I did too. You can see it in his press conference, and you can hear. You can literally hear him say, "Kyle, they should have lost that game," and coaching played a big part in it, and it just didn't go well for him. And so, hopefully, they'll rebound this weekend and get a victory.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. We just spoke about Alcorn a few minutes ago. Alcorn takes on, I believe it's Edward Waters, right?
Right.
Now, if they lose this game at home, Coach, Alcorn has a problem.
God, they could possibly lose it.
No, Coach, you think so?
You talking about Edward Waters is a dangerous football team. They have great players. Don't look at it as a D2 like a mile. I mean, they have an unbelievable team right now. They're clicking. They hadn't lost the game. And it's going to be, you got to look at it, man. Alcorn hadn't scored, and that's a problem, Kyle.
Yeah, that is a problem.
When you haven't scored, I say the same about Bethune. They haven't scored.
Yeah.
And Man, that's a dangerous way to coach because you're trying to call plays. You got a handful of people in the stands screaming, "You better win," and it's just a hostile situation. So I just think those programs, they're in bad predicaments right now, man. Let's hope Alcorn can get out of there with a victory. But man, Coach Thomas is under a lot of pressure.
I see my boys at SWAC and the fool. They're gonna be acting the fool. They're gonna be acting the real fool if they lose, man. All right, let's go on. Bethune Cookman. Let's see. I don't know who they're playing, but they're playing at 5:30 on ESPN Plus. And then you have Alabama A&M. They're playing as well. Alabama A&M quietly is having a decent year.
Yeah, they're playing the teams that they need to play. And let's not, I'm going to tell you something. Alabama A&M has some talent on this team. I just think right now, man, you know, they're at the point where they're screaming championship. And I don't think Coach is going to be able to get out of this. I think he has to either be in the dance or be close to it because they're hungry for a championship at Alabama A&M.
Yeah, so Georgetown is playing Alabama A&M. Bethune-Cookman is going to Western Michigan to play. Then you have Pine Bluff against Tennessee State. That could be a better than anticipated game at the Southern Heritage Classic. That could be a better than anticipated game right there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Pine Bluff is going to win this ball game.
Wow.
I think they have some unbelievable players on offense. They're very big up front. Hadn't seen Tennessee State just yet, but I do know this. Arkansas Pine Bluff has a scary football team, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough. You know, they hadn't scored 70 points. I looked it up. It was probably, 4 years? And their offense is clicking. Their quarterback is unbelievable.
But you know what's so interesting? Let's see. The first game of the season, right? Pine Bluff lost, 0-72?
Right.
Then they have the swing. They beat Arkansas Baptist 73-0. That has to be the greatest swing of all time. You know, you talk about 105 points right there, difference. Mm-hmm. So that's really interesting to see. I need to check with our data guys to make sure that I'm accurate on this. That has to be the greatest swing of all time. To lose one game, not putting on points, and blank out another opponent with 70 plus yourself, that has to be a great swing. All right, PV is going to Michigan State. We talked about that already. Texas Southern is going to be off this. They got an early bye, got a chance to be able to rest some of these guys for their clash next week against Lamar. So then you have Southern and Jackson State at the Boombox Classic. Coach, Jackson State, can they do it?
This is not going to be a high-scoring ball game. This is going to be a 14-7 or 10-3 win for either team. It's going to be a hostile environment. Due to the facts that both teams they're playing both quarterbacks. So, you know, I just think right now coaches are going to coach conservative. You know, you're not going to see a lot of fancy plays. I think the team that breaks the icing first, Kyle, is going to have a chance to win the ball game. But I think this is going to come down to a run. They're going to run the ball on both teams are going to run the ball, and I just think the game plan is going to be more conservative and wait on the team that makes the first mistake to capitalize on.
You know, this coach didn't make a prediction. I'm telling the listeners why Coach didn't make a prediction. He lives in Baton Rouge, but his heart is bleeding Jackson State blue. I understand, Coach. I understand. I'm gonna let you slide on this one, baby. All right, Grambling Miles Crawley was the offensive player of the week for the Grambling State Tigers. They rebounded after having a pretty dreadful first week. They rebounded over Tuskegee, which was a game of historic proportions because those two programs hadn't played each other in over 50 years. And now Grambling goes to Texas A&M Commerce. What do you see happening there?
Tough game for Grambling. I'm pulling for him. I hope Grambling wins. But, after I saw what Tarleton State did to McNeese, this is a tough ball club Grambling's going against. They're going to have to coach well. I do think they can win the ball game because Miles Crawley is playing lights out right now. But skeptical about Grambling's defense right now. They have two great offensive minds up there with Mickey Joseph and Coach Dooley. They probably have all the great players on offense. So, but I think it's going to be a close game. But going down there, you just don't know what you're going to see. But hope the Tigers come out of there with a 28-14 or 35-28 win.
Interesting. Blake Smith, my neighbor, who plays for Tarleton, man. He's a junior now, great young defensive back for those guys starting. So just made me think about him. Good kid. All right, so Alabama State, they are going to Samford. That is it could be a very competitive game for Alabama State on that one. What are your thoughts there?
Sanford is going to be ready to play football. I just don't think you can go in and run the ball every down and beat Sanford. You're going to have to coach your butt off, and you're going on their turf. It's going to be a hostile environment up there, too. They kind of remind you, Kyle, of a Rice. They have a good program, and they're going to be ready to play. If Alabama State passing game is not there, this game won't be close, Kyle.
Really? Okay.
Yes, that's a good ball club.
All right. Well, cool. All right. So that closes out the SWAC. If we look at anything else going into SIAC, let's see if we can catch a couple of these games here. Hold on, Coach. Look, before we go into that, and I know we only have a few more minutes, Coach, as far as out of the past couple of weeks, which coaching staff has impressed you more than anyone else?
I would have to say Prairie View.
Prairie View. Not Florida A&M, Prairie View. Okay.
Yeah. The reason why, because I did have a chance to watch. Of course, they weren't going to beat Miami, but I did watch the Florida A&M and Miami game, and you saw some traits of a brand new football team. You saw a lot of missed tackles, and you didn't really see a quality offense you saw in week 1 and week 2. That's why I think Coach Cosley is doing more coaching than anything. But, when you look at Prairie View and what they did to come from behind on the road, to coach the way they coach, to develop a new quarterback, and to put up the numbers that they did, I think his staff is doing outstanding right now. Anytime you could get a victory on the road from a big-time program. And probably want to say Central.
Really?
Yeah. So, I just think right now when you have an opportunity to beat the bigger programs, you're going to get the edge in the coaching.
Okay. Good. And Virginia Union against Johnson C. Smith. Both of those teams, Virginia Union, they lost last weekend, which was surprising. I think they lost to Hampton. And Johnson C. Smith, those guys have been shocking people. So that should be one of those CIAA versus SIAC games that The CIAA has really been taking it to the SIAC this season. That should be a good game to watch there, man. Richmond plays Delaware State. Winston-Salem State goes and they have to play Virginia State. Now, Winston-Salem had a close game against what was it, A&T last week?
It was A&T. It was very close. You wonder if A&T is back. You don't want to see them be in that slump like they was last year, but being that they won a game so close like they did, I don't know. I think it still looks scary for A&T.
Okay. All right, guys. Those are some of the highlight games of the week. Coach, what else is on your mind? What else can we talk about?
Kyle, we always want to give the ladies their due diligence. Our female fans, and I just want to give Angel Reese a shout out. She had a big injury. A lot of fans are throwing her out of the MVP race or the Rookie of the Year race. But I just want to let her know the job that she did representing LSU and representing the state of Louisiana was unbelievable, man. As a rookie going in, they're getting adjusted to how you play the game at a high level. And to have a wrist injury, it's simply probably kind of conditioning. A lot of people go, it's just like the pros. When you, the NFL, I'm sorry, when you go to the NFL, you got to still condition yourself every day, Kyle, because you're playing at a high level. It's no more 1 or 2 weight rooms a week, And so, she was getting adjusted. She has a broken wrist. And so that's a weight room error. And, I don't know how, I don't know anything about the WNBA, but I do know she's a tough competitor and she'll be back strong. And we want to continue her success and tell her thank you for the job well done.
Yeah, some reports said it could be career threatening. But I think with the sports medicine programs that we have out here nowadays, I don't think that's too much going to be an issue, especially with the people behind Angel Reese in her wrist. So I think she'll be fine. And think about this, Coach. She set a record this season for rebounding. Last night, Miss Wilson, she set a record for most points in a single season. So she's having, I believe, her 3rd MVP trophy that's going to be ready for her. They're polishing it up right now.
I would like to see her team up with Candace Parker. And, when you look at the career Candace Parker had, because when the WNBA was really, really getting started, and Candace Parker dunking the basketball every week and staying strong, you really never heard about her having a serious injury. But I would like to see Angel team up with her and, conditioning, show her the conditioning steps to the WNBA and how to last long in the profession. Because, rookie players, man, they're enjoying themselves. They're working, Kyle, but she's a young pup in the game. So, we can't foul her. But, her next time around, she'll know how to condition and use practice and use weight room as she goes in the WNBA profession.
Great point. I like that. I like it. All right, Coach. Michael Vick and his people are producing a documentary called The Evolution of the Black Quarterback. It premieres September 24th on Prime. Of course, they're going to talk about Doug, James Shaq Harris. You got Patrick Mahomes, who's two times MVP, 3-time Super Bowl champ. And, of course, Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP himself, but hasn't been able to reach that pinnacle yet. And Jalen Hurts and Donovan McNabb, Russell Wilson, and Cam Newton. We can go on and on and on about how this position has evolved, man. If you look at James Shaq Harris being really a major pioneer I know Marlon Briscoe got the first start for any NFL team, but James Shaq Harris starting the season as a black quarterback for the Buffalo Bills when he did it back in 1969, I believe, 69. Yeah. That was tremendous, man. That was tremendous. And
yeah, when you look at, because I watched the Steve McNair documentary on Netflix. And
forgot about Steve,
Yeah, when you look at the documentary and what's going on with the NFL quarterbacks right now, I think they're responding well because I think right now these guys understand the playbook. When you're in college, the playbook's not that thick, whereas you go in the NFL, your playbook might be 200 pages. Well, these guys are locking in and they're winning it in the classroom. That's why you see so many phenomenal African-American quarterbacks right now, because they're capitalizing off the playbook.
All right, right quick. Got 30 seconds, Coach. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Tycoon League 2 at gmail.com. Also, check me out on HBCU Sports Legends with Kyle T. Mosley.
All right. I'm Kyle T. Mosley, HBCU Legends. Check us out on all platforms. Check me out at KT Mose. Thank you very much. Have a great week 3. Take care. Bye.
Life is full of adventures.
Do you take this man to be your husband?
I do. Welcome home.
We did it. He has your eyes.
He's perfect.
Make the most of them all with PenFed checking and savings accounts. Learn more at PenFed.org. Federally insured by NCUA. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed Credit Union.
PenFed's